I'm Gaby Mendes.
And I'm Felix Kabutey Jr. You are now listening to the Talk Twenties podcast.
This podcast is your ultimate guide to adult life, where we discuss, with the help of our amazing guests, all the things that we were never taught in school.
Adult life can be really isolating, as everyone's got their own thing going on. But remember, you're never alone. There are over 7 million of us 20-somethings all trying to figure it out. Let's unpack a new topic in today's episode.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Talk Twenties podcast. If you're not subscribed or following already, make sure you click that button so you never miss an episode of us in the studio. Today in the studio, it's just me and Felix.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. We're going to do an episode today. It's a little bit different. We've done like 4 or 5 guest episodes so far of the brand new series, and we thought this would be a perfect opportunity to kind of have a little chat and for you guys as listeners to get to know us a little bit more. So yeah, I'm really excited to just do a bit of a chilled episode with us today.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's also a good chance to kind of reflect on things so far. You know, we've kind of hit the ground running, but a lot has gone into this, right? And a lot has happened as well, even far past what we even envisaged at first. So
oh my gosh,
I think let's let the listeners into that a little bit as well.
So like, just before, oh God, what date was it? It was the day we recorded our episode with Ben West. We'd managed to secure a place in the final of the Pitch UK in Manchester. So it was like a regional final where you can go and like pitch your business. And it was kind of a last minute thing. We'd somehow been missed off the list. It was like, we were not like mentally prepared for this. It was not like a big thing that we've been leading up to and like planning. And I think we were like, I was definitely editing the pitch and pitching it to you like over pizza before we went. Like we left the studio, left Ben's episode, drove to Manchester, got some pizza, and we were still tweaking this pitch. Yeah. And then you may have seen it on social media because a lot of people have mocked me for my reaction after. But like we ended up like some of the businesses there for a start, let's just say that were absolutely incredible. They had been raised like 15 million, some of them. Like some people were taking on some huge names in the industry like Apple and Moonpig and things like that. And then, we went and won the Manchester final, which was mental.
Mental indeed. I mean, you talk about your reaction, my reaction. I literally screamed. Like, big man like me, I screamed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, then you can hear you in the background.
Literally on the video, I literally screamed. But that's just, I think shock, but also excitement because it was like, wow. Especially like you said, some of the business in there were incredible. And some of them were like a great opportunity to network. Some of them like are contacts now that we have, which is so amazing.
Yeah, no, it was a really cool event in Manchester. So that just completely really took us by surprise.
Surprise for sure.
And then if you win the Manchester final, you go through to the national final. And the national final's at Google HQ in London.
That was nice.
So last week or the week before, about 10 days ago now, we headed down to London as a team with Georgia as well. And we were up against all the other finalists for who had won like Bristol, the
other regions in the UK.
Other regions in the UK, like there were 2 London heats as well. So in Google HQ, we stand up and we do our pitch again. You can tell the rest of the story.
No, like you really had to be there to really take it in. But Gaby got up, and this pitch that we originally created over pizza, you literally just tweaked it.
Tiny tweaks.
Tweaked it a tiny bit, you know. But it was absolutely flawless. Like she did amazingly well and literally won the room, right? Because what did we end up winning?
We ended up winning People's Choice winner, which is insane.
So even that again, I think I held back my scream that time, but it was an amazing moment. Amazing moment.
And I think it just goes to show that like we're still early on the relaunch, but I think like there's definitely, we definitely feel excited. And I think I've had so many messages from people, friends who've been either on the podcast before or have been following the brand really closely and have seen what I've done in the past 2 years and then see what we're doing now with the addition of you and Georgia and growing the team and the rebrand and everything, and are so excited for like what we're building. I think it's just a really exciting time.
It is.
It's been good. It's been good so far.
Heartfelt moment. And for me, like, I never really imagined my podcast journey going. I imagined it go like this, you know, I was really confident in everything I was doing, but just the space of time it's happened. Like early this year, I brought my podcast idea to life. Now I'm a part of this bigger vision and I'm going to different rooms and as a podcaster and being able to explain about this business and everything, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
It's exciting because we also reached the final of the British Podcast Awards this year, which is the second year in a row. So, you know, like it's exciting. And I think it goes to show that like, more than anything, like this is needed. Like these 100%. Conversations around 20s, being in your 20s and all the challenges that you have, it's so needed. There's no one really talking about it openly right now, or there's no one platform you can go to for specific advice or support who really get it, because it very quickly in a flash, you're probably in your 30s and you've figured out a lot of things, and you kind of, you know, a lot of people say, we still need Talk 20s in their 30s. But, you know, like this time is difficult, but it's about opening up and talking about it. 100%,
100%. Well, with that being said, I'm going to ask you a quick question now.
Okay.
How do you feel right now?
How do I feel right now? Is this part of our 20 questions that we're going to go into for this episode?
It's going to be our 20 questions going into it, because, a lot has happened, as we just said.
Yeah.
So how do you feel right now? I don't think you ever really get a chance to take a moment.
Oh, that's so true. Like, I don't think we take a moment. Like, I don't think any 20-something takes a moment in their life to really go, okay, like something's going good. Like I'm really happy with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I've experienced a lot of emotions in the past few weeks.
I can imagine.
Grateful, I think, is the word. Grateful because, you know, like I'm pleased that I'm so pleased I get to do this as my job, because I feel like I'm genuinely like helping people and that it's having a positive impact on people. Like we got stopped in the street on Friday when we were out recording some content, and someone was like, thank you so much for like what you've done. I love what you're building. And like that, I think for me, like just says it all really. Like I'm grateful, and I definitely feel very lucky to be in this position, but it's an overwhelming amount of emotions. You know, and I get excited about the tiniest of things. Like everybody, we've got our new mic covers today, which we're all buzzing about in the studio.
Branded.
So yeah, like even the littlest things, like it's just exciting, isn't it? Like, So yeah. So for you then, let's kickstart on all these 20 questions. You just asked me, how do I feel in this moment right now? But question one for you then, how do you feel in one word right now?
I mean, I don't want to steal your emotion or anything, but I feel a lot of gratitude at the moment as well. But I think most of all, I'm feeling energized. For me, the past few weeks have been a lot of things going on, and it's been difficult to like get settled. So I've just constantly been going. But I don't know, maybe it's sitting back in these chairs, mic in front of me, I'm feeling energized again. I kind of feel like I'm home, you know? I literally said to you before, I've not seen my dad in 6 weeks. Like I've not been physically at home in 6 weeks. So yeah, it's nice.
You've been all over the place.
I've been all over the place.
Give a little insight to where you've been, because you've been busy.
Yeah, so I went back to my motherland, Ghana, for a nice holiday that was really needed with my mum. Got to see a lot of the family, where I'm from, my heritage, everything. Just really got to take it in. And then when I came back, I started a new job. So I was down in Westminster, down in London, doing training. So that was quite intense. And then in between there, I went to a family wedding, a family friend's wedding down in Birmingham. I went to visit my sister at uni. I was just everywhere.
You've been busy. And in all of that, you've also been like part-time working with us as well. So I don't know how you've done it all, to be honest. It's no wonder that you're literally like, I've been here, there, everywhere.
Yeah, I think I was telling someone earlier, I think in the past month, I've been to 2 different countries and 4 different cities.
Wow.
In the space of a month.
That's busy. So energized. You got a lot of energy.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. Well, that was a great first question, I think, to start, because I think, it's probably like our listeners listening right now, it's probably like, take a minute and think like, what am I actually feeling right now? Because I don't think we actually ever really take it all in, do we?
No, we don't. We don't.
Right. Should we kickstart with the others?
Yeah, let's go for it. I'm ready.
Right.
A little bit settled. So yeah, if everyone knows the story about how we started in our collaboration, I reached out to you on LinkedIn. But I've always wondered, what was your first impression of me?
My first impression of you? Well, obviously positive, because you wouldn't be sat here right now.
True.
Do you know what? Like, I remember getting on the call, like at this moment in time, like, you know, it was in the pandemic. So I was having probably quite a lot of calls with people who were like, you know, should we have a little coffee, whatever people called it, a Zoom coffee or whatever it was. Not coffee, because Felix doesn't drink coffee if you've listened to any of their episodes. But yeah, I think I I remember getting on this call, and I think what I'd said to you on LinkedIn was like, sure, like, yeah, like get a few questions together and we'll have a call, because you were asking about podcasting. And I remember you coming on the call and you had written all your questions down, and I was like, right, this boy means business, like for sure. I was like, he is so prepared, and I just loved that instantly. I was like, oh, actually, like, because I think like in a way, like it was like extremely respectful, because it was like, okay, like I feel like I'm taking up a half an hour of your time to learn about your trade and what it is that you do, and you like it sounded like you were really, really prepared, and you genuinely like went through your list of questions, and I answered as many of them as I could. I just thought, oh, that's actually really nice, like someone who really values another person's time. Like I would have given you all the time in the world, but there are people out there who you might reach out to, like a mentor or something like that, who are really busy, and you probably do need to approach it in that kind of way. So I think I was just like really impressed. And then from then on, I was like, yeah, like I would, yeah, definitely love to work with you in some way. And then now look where we are.
It's beautiful.
So yeah, what was your first impression of me?
Well, it's funny. It's funny that you said your first impression of me, like this boy means business, because I literally saw you and I was like, okay, she's giving me boss babe vibes. Like if I'm gonna take a moment of time, I need to come correct. So that's literally why I did all my planning. Came really prepared, because I really appreciate you taking the time to even listen. I was surprised when you responded to me, because you was doing amazing things. I was like, oh, let me just kind of shoot my shot and see if she gets back to me. So it was really nice for you to get back to me. So when I did have the chance to speak to you, I just thought, let me come prepared, all my questions, and I felt like you were someone that was extremely hardworking, very ambitious, and anything that you set your eyes on, you're going to achieve it. So yeah, I wanted to definitely pick your brains a little bit.
Oh, that's very kind. Very, very kind. I think I've not even got my phone here, but I think the next question that we've got on our list is the first photo in your camera roll. Yeah. George, can you pass me my phone? Thank you. Because I feel like this is a funny one, like, because it's a long, my iCloud goes back a long way,
Yeah.
A very, very long way. And I think this actually, I went back to it. I don't know, these photos must have somehow made it on there, because they're definitely not taken on this phone.
I've got mine though. Did you know on iPhones, if you click the top of your screen,
it goes straight to
the top? I didn't know that,
Oh, you'd have been scrolling for days otherwise.
Literally. But I just want to share that with everyone, because I think that's super useful.
We'll put them up on the screen really big, but I don't know if you guys can see this. So it's me and does it turn that way? It's me and my siblings. It's not my littlest brother, Tobes. I don't think he was born at this stage, actually. But yeah, it's a picture, and it says 2006. I'm not sure if that's the right year. Maybe it is. I'm not sure. Would my sister be?
That's super cute.
Yeah.
That's super cute.
Maybe it is. No, I think it's probably not taken in 2006, actually. But yeah, this is my brother Sam. This is my sister Maddie. They actually came to watch us in the pitch final.
They did,
so Felix and Georgia know them well as well now. So yeah, like my siblings and me.
It's crazy. It's crazy seeing them there, and then I've also seen them in person. You know what? Now, like, you all look the same. You can literally tell your family straight away. But I feel like less so. You can tell you're related, but everyone's kind of got their own individual features. But now you guys are literally this spitting image of each other, I think.
Yeah. Very random. That's my first one.
I mean, I've got mine, but I'm going to have to cheat a little bit, because my first one is a video.
Oh, okay.
It's a video, and I'm going to turn it around to the camera now.
The video?
So it's this. Got a bit of hair there. Video of my dad.
Is he dancing?
He's dancing. And I don't think there's anything that sums up my dad more than that.
And I know that do you get your dancing skills for your dad?
I must do. I get a lot from my dad.
You're a good dancer. You are a good dancer. So if you get it from your dad, then I'm guessing that video he's dancing away. Like.
He's dancing away. But yeah, I love this video. It literally sums up my dad. I mean, he's the life of the party when he goes out. And yeah, I look up to my dad a lot. So that's a really nice video to have in my camera roll. He looks really fashionable in his African suit. Yeah, he's a cool guy, I can't lie. But
it also really reminds me of your graduation video, which is one of my favorite videos of all time. Are we allowed to share that as well?
Yeah, we can.
It's literally, oh my God, one of the best things ever. It's like Felix Kabutey Jr. And then you come on and do this like dance thing. And it's honestly the best video ever. We'll share it on the pod, but it's brilliant.
That's your moment, so you got to grab it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And for anyone who is currently listening to this on Spotify right now or Apple Podcasts or whatever you listen on, I realise that you probably can't see these pictures at all, but this is your reason to go and follow us on YouTube and subscribe over there. So then you can watch us, you know,
100%.
and if you watch on Spotify, the video should be available as well if you click into it. So yeah, for these moments, you've probably wanted to watch the video of the podcast as well. So just something to remember. So yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So I love music. So one thing I want to ask you is, what are you listening to right now?
What am I listening to right now? I feel like this one has been a really long time coming. But obviously Taylor Swift has literally just brought out her brand new album, Midnights. And I think it's been a long time in the making. So I must admit, I've been listening to that quite a lot on repeat at this moment in time. Big fan of Antihero. So yeah, I've always been a bit of a Taylor Swift fan. And like the fact that she's back in the charts, I'm like all for it. So yeah, what about you? What are you listening to?
I mean, I can't say I listen to a lot of Taylor Swift, but I did see that she took up like all 10 spots in the Billboard at one point.
Yeah.
I've got to commend that. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's
It's pretty amazing. I think everything she's doing to like take back her music rights and stuff like that, I think is really, really commendable as well.
Well, you look at everything that happened with Madonna, so it's good. Like a lot of artists are, you know, taking that responsibility and taking that step. Because it's super important.
What about you?
What I'm listening to right now, I'm listening to a Nigerian artist called Ashake. I hope I pronounced that right. I hope I've not butchered his name, but it's a fusion between like Amapiano, which comes from like South Africa, and also Afro beats, which is across Africa. And yeah, I just really love like the instrumentals, and his lyrics are actually in Yoruba, which is like a Nigerian language. So I don't understand a word of that.
Oh, you can't? Okay.
I'm just vibing to it because it's just a whole vibe. And I'm actually going to see him in concert in December. So
oh, wicked. Where's that?
Yeah, it's in London, down in London, at one of the O2 arenas.
Okay.
So
oh wow,
yeah, gonna go see him.
It must be huge eyes. I'm gonna tune in.
Yeah. Let's make a pact. I'll listen to a bit of Taylor Swift. You listen to some Ashake, right?
Deal. No problem with that. I have no issue. So getting a little bit deeper now on the discussions.
Of course, we have to.
I wanted to talk about, and we've had some of these questions come in from our listeners as well. So thank you for those of you that shared them. What is one of your biggest insecurities?
One of my biggest insecurities. Okay, yeah, let's get deep. I think this is something previously I wouldn't have been comfortable sharing, but I've actually taken steps to help me overcome it. For those that can see on the video, I've got a plaster over my ear.
You do?
So this very morning, I had minor cosmetic surgery on something that's been bothering me for about 2 years now. So I had what you call a keloid scar, which is essentially, it typically comes from piercings. It's essentially when your blood clots and then it scars over, and then the body's going to do what the body does. It's trying to heal it, but it's healing too quickly, and essentially you get like a bit of a lump. So mine came from wearing an earring. My mum is probably shaking her head right now because she hates when I wear earrings. So she's thinking I told you so. Yeah. But yeah, that's something that's really bothered me for like the past 2 years. I've not worn my earrings, but I had this like little ball behind my ear. And
is it painful?
It's not painful. You don't feel it, but I say you don't feel it physically, but psychologically, it's something that's really bothered me in the past 2 years. Like I hated when anyone was stood behind me, even if they couldn't even see it. Like I asked you, like if you've seen it, you've never seen it.
Never even noticed.
Yeah, but to me, it's on show, big time. But yeah, that's probably been one of my insecurities. But thankfully, I was able to get minor cosmetic surgery on it. And, you know, I know everyone's not that lucky, but when I looked at that situation, you know, I had it in a place where it's not well seen. Other people have it like on their face, or it's really, really big. Yeah. So yeah, definitely feeling very grateful and really embracing that insecurity, and I'm happy to share about it because it's been something that's definitely weighed on me heavy, but I almost feel lighter.
That's amazing though, isn't it? Because I think like if there is, I think there's a big discussion, isn't it? Like, you know, around cosmetic surgery and stuff like that, especially like it's mainly obviously targeted at like women who choose to like change. And maybe when I talk about my insecurity, like we can go into that a little bit more, but like I definitely think like there is also an element of like if it's something that's bothered you for a really long time, then why shouldn't you go and get whatever you need like sorting? And I think that's obviously totally within reason. Like, you know, like don't change your whole image because, you know, we're all beautiful as we are. Like we do genuinely believe that. But if there is something that's like been bothering you, and like thanks for opening up about that, because I think not many people would like, you know, and would want to share that and be like, no, this is something that actually is going to make me feel much better about myself, because now you won't be so nervous when someone's behind you or some of those things, even though that's totally 100% in your head, like none of us were even noticing that.
Yeah.
It's going to make you feel that reassurance now, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Hi everyone, Gaby here. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Talk Twenties podcast. This is the bit where I tell you about our headline sponsor, Zopa Bank. Zopa are one of the UK's leading digital banks, and we're really excited to be working with them. Zopa are all about fair, simple, and easy to use financial products that actually work for you. It's all online in their free to use app. So head to your usual app store and search Zopa, that's Zopa, and find out what they're all about.
I have to return the deep question, Gaby. It's only fair. It's only fair.
I don't think I've ever spoken about this. And my friends really know, because it's been something that's bothered me for a really long time. And I have actually finally like looked to do something about it. But like mine is my nose. Like I have always front profile, keep me on this camera, like no probs, but side profile, I've always just never loved my side profile. And I think from spending so much time on camera, like it just has been highlighted to me. And it's not a massive change that I would want. It's just to have like a really big dip here and like stuff like that. But like, I think it was when I was younger, I used to get teased like, oh, you've got like a witch's nose and stuff like that, which is horrible.
Kids
like,
are actually wicked. Kids
like,
are
why does someone say that to you? But it's just always stuck. So I'll look at a picture of me like side profile and I'll be like, oh, like I wish I could do something about my nose. So yeah, I'm not doing anything drastic, guys. You know, like no like big like surgical like thing, but yeah, I'm definitely looking into that a little bit more, because I think for me it would just give me that little bit more of a confidence boost. So I've got a consultation coming up that I'm gonna see how it goes. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Thank you for sharing. I think we both kind of shared something.
So if I'm here with a new nose next week, you know what's happened. I'm joking.
And I guess that kind of addresses the conversation and the stigma around like cosmetic surgery in general. Like, not everyone's getting cosmetic surgery to look like this person or imitate this person or ever. Some people are just doing it because, you know, it's something that they want to do.
Yeah, like
you know
I have thought about this for about 5 years. Like it's a really long time. And I was genuinely going to try it and like look into it before COVID. Yeah. And then COVID happened. And then obviously no doctors or anything like that was even like having these kind of discussions. So it's really just been that now. And then obviously with the relaunch and everything, I thought, no, I really need to go and like do something for myself about that. Another deep one. When was the last time you cried?
Ooh. Are you asking me this because I'm a man? And the stereotype is men don't cry?
It was a question that we both agreed that we were like, okay, this is a really interesting one. But I do definitely think that like, I think our listeners will want to know.
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
Stereotypically, they probably think it's going to be the answer's going to be like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think I'm quite in touch with my emotions. Yeah. But crying, I think it takes a lot for me to cry. But actually, the last time I cried wasn't too long ago. Because as I explained, I went back to my motherland, and a big part of that was going to my granddad's grave. He passed in 2018, and I've not been able to go back since then. So a mixture of just going back to his hometown, his village, see where he came from. Yeah. Actually seeing the grave, and, you know, it kind of hits you there that person is gone. And also, you know, my mum is my queen, and my mum had a great relationship with her dad. And that also led to me having a great relationship with him as well. So seeing my mum break down, trying to be her rock in that moment, trying to support her. And next thing you know, I'm bawling. I'm literally got tears. I've got some pictures and videos on my phone that we used to just capture the moment. I've even got like glasses on, because I've seen that people try to wear glasses to like, you know. Yeah. But you just see it just coming down my face. So yeah, that's the last time I cried. But a really, really special moment. And within that, I think there was some tears of joy, because like I said, I went back and I saw where he started, and then looking at what he's achieved. It was a really special moment. So it wasn't just tears of sadness. It was a lot of, you know, tears of joy and appreciation of that great man.
I love that. I think for me, mine was like really recently. It was the day after the pitch, and like it was just like overwhelmed. Like Georgia and I were sat working in a coffee shop in London, and like they just kept playing these songs that were like meant a lot to me. It was the weirdest playlist going, because I was like, it was so random. It was genuinely like someone who really knew me had picked up the playlist in this coffee shop and was trying to play these songs like please cry, please cry, please cry. And I did.
They got you.
They got me. They got me. So yeah, that was the last time for me. But yeah, it was actually, it's comical actually looking back.
With crying then, self-care. What's your biggest self-care tip?
It's such a tough one. I think I would probably say, what do I even do for self-care? I think for me, it's having a bath. Like, I genuinely, that's my time. And I think it's because I spend a lot of time like on screens, and I'm also like a very busy person, and like I find it very hard to switch off. But if you're in a bath, you can't do anything but sit in the bath. So for me, I would say self-care wise, like, is really finding that time for yourself, whatever that is. And for me, that's having a bath.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I think my self-care tip would be to do with time management as well. And my tip would be, no matter what you've got going on, designate at least, it depends. It can be a couple of hours, it can be a day, but just designate a period of time where you do nothing. No matter what deadlines you've got going on, no matter what pressure's on you, just take that time and even put it into your schedule. Like, this is me time. Me time. And it's so important. I found it super beneficial when I was like doing my masters alongside full-time work. And it was during COVID as well. I switched down the work laptop. I'm straight onto my uni laptop. There was no time to switch off. But I ended up having to take one Saturday just for me. It didn't even matter if I had a deadline the next day. That Saturday was for me. And I felt that when I went back to my work on a Sunday, I was just
headspace.
Much better headspace. So that would definitely be my self-care tip. This one is to do with our rebrand. And a big part of the rebrand was our content pillars.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you now, what content pillar do you feel like you have the most to talk about? And I feel like I don't need to remind you, but for our viewer listeners' benefit, we've got...
Great start! We've got these content pillars and he's completely forgotten them all.
Sorry.
And we go again.
So we've got career and business, money and finance, well-being and relationships, and adventure and culture. Yeah.
I think I would probably say I've done the most work on myself for like well-being and relationships. I think I can talk about them all. But for me, I think like I've been in a long-term relationship for like 9 years now. And I have also had like big struggles with like mental health and all of that kind of stuff. So I think from personal experience, I can probably like talk a lot about that. And I think we've got some questions coming up on like relationships and stuff. But, all of them I think are interesting. What about you? What would you say?
Yeah. I've got something to say about everything, but I think career and business would be the one that I have most to talk about, because I entered the corporate workplace at a very quite young age through my placement year. And I feel as if I've done a lot of different roles that has given me great exposure, but I've reached certain points where I've kind of looked around and thought, like, what is actually going on here? And then with the business side of things, I studied a business management degree and then went on to do a master's in management and entrepreneurship. So seeing that at uni and seeing it in the real world, it's a completely different thing. So I'd really like to speak on that a lot more. And I'm looking forward to having those conversations and getting on a lot of guests in the business world and having those honest conversations about what it actually is like.
Definitely. So moving quickly through these questions, in terms of like money and our finance and money pillar of the content, do you talk about money with your family and friends?
That's a difficult one. I feel like it's difficult because in my household, the money conversation is a little bit more difficult. And that's just because my dad is an accountant. If I have the money conversation with him, I've always felt from a young age like I will be getting lectured and everything like that. We've literally had back and forths about money. But now I'm older and I realize a lot of what he was telling me was very good advice. The money conversation is okay now in my family household. But yeah, it is a little bit difficult to like open up about like mistakes I've made, because I know he won't judge me, but I don't want to kind of disappoint him. But definitely when I was younger, I made some poor financial decisions, and my dad made sure I knew about it. What about yourself?
I think we get all of our, I definitely got like a lot of my beliefs about money from my parents, for sure, like definitely what they believe. I kind of realized that getting into a relationship with my partner, because his beliefs around money were very, very different, and he just does things a lot differently. So I now feel like my habits around talking about money and stuff like that has definitely changed. But yeah, I feel pretty comfortable talking about money, and I think the taboo is generally like going away. To be fair, I think it is changing for sure.
Yeah. I have to say that I don't particularly talk about money with my friends. No, I wouldn't say so. Would you?
I do, yeah. I would say I talk quite, but maybe a lot of my friends are doing similar things to what I do. Like I like ask someone necessarily like, or know everyone's salary, but yeah, me and my best friend definitely talk about money actually like quite openly. Like there isn't really, but not the case for you.
No, I think I'd maybe like to change that.
Yeah.
I would like to change that. So you mentioned how your partners had a big influence on your money conversations. I've got to ask, because I'm sure people are wondering, how did you meet your other half?
I met Dan at uni, first semester of uni. I was 18, he was 19. And we met on sports night at 1 a.m. Basically, I was out with like my friend Joe, and he was stood talking to Dan by the Mermaid Fountain in the University of Birmingham. If you know it, it's the Guild of Students. It's like the union basically. And he was sat talking to Dan, and I was like, Joe, I was like, it's 1 a.m. I was like, I feel like I want to go home now. You like ready to leave? He was like, yeah, I'll just go get Hannah, who was like our friend. You wait here with Dan. And then that's literally it. Like now he's my fiance.
Wow.
Well, not Joe, Dan's my fiance. But yeah, that's like basically the history of it. So I have Joe to thank for that intro. But yeah, we just got on like a house on fire, and then have been together ever since.
How many years is it?
9.
Wow.
Long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
What about you?
That's amazing.
You and your girlfriend, how did you guys meet?
Yeah. So firstly, I'm trying to be like you guys, like 9 years deep. That's amazing. But it's not as romantic. I literally just slid into her DMs. But
sometimes.
She was doing amazing things. She's an aspiring interior designer. So at the time when I was looking at houses and stuff, I wanted to see how, I can make a space work. So I DM'd her about that. And then we literally, same as you, just got on a house on fire.
Old question, did you? Let me talk to you about my house space that I want to do. You just wanted to ask her on a date.
Yeah, pretty much. Very soon we went for like a date, and we just, literally got on like a house on fire, boys. Yeah.
So would you say she's your type on paper?
Ooh.
Or what is your type on paper?
This is a difficult question, because I always used to say, like, I don't have a type. I see beauty in everyone. But I think definitely, meeting my girlfriend and being with her, I've seen that there are certain traits that go beyond even just the physical that I look for. So I'd say I need someone that is similar to me, but also challenges me. And also someone that I can really, really laugh with. So someone who's a bit of a comedian, doesn't take themselves too seriously. I think my type comes down to the personality rather than just the looks.
Everyone just says that.
No, it's the truth though. It's the truth.
It's their personality. It's all they say on Love Island. I'm attracted to their personality. Mine is actually, I'll be honest, guys, I really like gingers. My fiance is ginger. So I really like gingers and like fair-haired people. Like I have a really very specific type. Doesn't matter about the personality. I'm joking. No, they obviously have to have an amazing personality. You've got to get on at the end of the day. But I think that just goes without saying, isn't it? Like, but yeah, who am I attracted to is a very specific type of person. Big thing for me as well also is my culture. My culture is a big thing for me. So having someone that is from the same culture, the same country, etc., it means we click on a lot of things, and it's amazing. Yeah. So that's part of my type as well, I think. On the conversation on relationships, let's sprinkle a little bit of the money conversation in there. It's a bit of a taboo topic, and sometimes it's not always spoken about. But how do you manage money with your partner? I think it's a really interesting one. We have a shared joint account, and we have separate accounts as well. So we like put all of our things that are joint expenditure into like our joint accounts, and then we each like put money in there per month, and then that is like basically managed like on behalf of us both. And then we have separate pots that are things for like our own things, like our own self-care, like, or gifts for one another, or gifts for friends and family and stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of people say like, oh, are you all in? Do you put all your money into the same account and stuff like that? Or are you completely separate? And do you just like one of you pay this and one of you pay this? But we're like totally in the middle. you're like fairly early on in your relationship. So are you just like taking it in turns to pay for things? Like how do you guys
I think that plays a big factor, like the stage of the relationship we are in. But we have had the money conversation. I think that was very important, you know, quite early on, and to actually say like, oh, this is my financial situation. This is your financial situation. When it comes to paying things, I think like naturally Are you
a gentleman if you pay for everything?
I try to be. I try to be, and I like to be a provider.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend definitely does, you know, offer to pay for things a lot of the time. And I think most of the time when we like have a shared experience, I just always want to like take care of her. So like the logistics to get there whilst we're there, everything's paid for, and then she would like chip in and, you know, treat me to like this or that. So that's kind of how it's working at the moment. But I think the time of the relationship, how long we've been together, plays a big factor.
Yeah,
I imagine when we're together for as long as you and your fiance, that's when the finances and the pots start to mix a little bit.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
Talking about careers then and business, what do you think is the hardest thing or hardest part about working with you?
Ooh.
What a question.
Wow. I think for me, it has to be a kind of struggle to ask for help. Definitely a bit of a problem solver myself. And even if I'm really struggling, before I burden someone else, I try to sort it out myself. But sometimes...
do that. Ask for help.
I know. Literally, sometimes just asking for help, 2 heads are better than one. You can literally solve a problem much, much quicker. But I think it kind of comes from some of my past experiences and not wanting to look incompetent. So I definitely struggle to ask for help. What about yourself?
I would probably say that I am probably quite an impulsive individual. So if I think of an idea, I'm usually like, I want to do it right now. Or like, I want an answer on this like now, or I want to do this like now. And like, I find it really hard to just be like, put that project down and focus on the thing that you're supposed to be focusing on. So I probably would say that's probably the hardest part about working with me, is that I want to do different things all the time. But I think if you're a creative person, then that's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. So
very, very true.
So
very true. I wonder if you've always been like that, and even just thinking back to your childhood, do you remember what you wanted to be when you grew up?
I genuinely had no idea what I wanted to be. And I think that really troubled me growing up, is that I didn't really know. And I think I spent my whole teenage years like really panicking about that, because I was like, do I want to go to drama school? Like, do I really love musical theatre, but do I really want to do that? And no, I don't. And then kind of falling into teaching, but knowing that really wasn't what I wanted to do. So I didn't have a clear view. And so I just made up my own job, and here we are. So
If it doesn't exist, create it.
If it doesn't exist, create it. Yeah. But what about you? What did you want to do?
I went through phases. I remember a phase where wanted to be an accountant because my dad was an accountant, but I'm terrible with numbers. Went through a phase of wanting to be a lawyer because I could argue, but I've soon realized that's not a viable reason to pursue law. But for me, I absolutely love playing football, and football is a very big part of my life growing up. So for a big part of my childhood, I was aspiring to be a footballer, but unfortunately that didn't work out. But it definitely equipped me with a lot of the skills that I use to this very day.
Absolutely. We talk about, obviously, football taught you a lot of skills there, but like we talk a lot about on this podcast about the things that school didn't teach us and that we are having to learn in our 20s. But like, is there anything that you remember from school that you did actually learn that was actually like, what does school actually teach you?
I think for me, what school taught me is sometimes life can naturally lead you to be in a bubble. Don't be afraid to break out of that bubble, you know? I think one thing for me that I've really struggled with throughout my kind of school life is I was always in bubbles, but that when I moved to the next stage of my life, that bubble wouldn't follow me. You know what I'm saying? Other people go off and do their own thing. People I used to speak to every day, people I used to see 5 times a week, never spoke to them again. You know, those are some of the hardest lessons I've had to kind of take on.
I can relate to that too, because I think we've both said before that like our primary school was different to our secondary school and we didn't know anyone. And then our secondary school was different to our college and we didn't know anyone. And then we went to university, we didn't know anyone. And that was pretty much the case for me. And maybe that's like true of like how we find ourselves in situations like this, because we're open to having to put ourselves into situations where we have to make new friends. We have to reach out to people that we've never spoken like to before. Because I think like that, like you say, there's good sides to that. I think you get comfortable with kind of saying, okay, I'm in a new environment now. I need to make myself comfortable. I need to make new friends and stuff like that. But if you are in that bubble for like the whole way through school, I'm guessing that probably feels a little bit harder because you just stick with the people that you know. So maybe it's a positive thing in that. But yeah.
So speaking about being in the bubble, and often in life, like I said, it can feel like you're in a bubble. But right now, it feels like that bubble is bursting. There's a lot happening in the world right now. How are you navigating the world right now? And then, are you okay?
Am I okay? I think there's definitely some fear around like starting a business, going into, what's going on with the cost of living and stuff like that at this moment in time. Like it feels like a nervous time because, we're reliant on sponsors to do what we do. And the kind of the climate that we're moving into, it is tricky because like, everyone can look back at like the 2008 crash, and although we were all babies, like everyone knows that everyone still talks about that as being a really scary time and all that kind of stuff. So I think being a business owner, being an employer in this time is like super scary. And that's obviously territory I've just stepped into. So I think like that's probably my biggest fears around things right now. But personally, everything is okay right now. What about you?
Good to hear. Yeah. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, there's a lot happening right now, but I've always tried to stay grounded and just understood some things are just above me. So for me, I'm trying to look after like myself, my family, and the things that I can control.
Yeah,
I understand there's a lot happening right now that I can't control, but I'm literally just, I'm okay. I'm getting by just putting my trust in God and literally just looking after things I can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you had to do your 20s again, would you do anything differently? Like the past four, like you're 24 now, would you do anything differently?
Ooh. I would say I would value differences a lot more, if that makes sense. I would value differences a lot more. Differences in myself, differences I've seen in other people, and really take the time to really try to understand and see like why is there that difference between myself and you, or why am I different from this group of people, rather than just completely shutting it out. I feel like I closed myself off to a lot of different opportunities, different experiences, because I just felt there was an indifference. A little bit deep. I think we have to go into that a little bit more later.
More, like, because I was like, like, what do you mean by that?
It was just like, sometimes I would be like, because I've got this interest, I have to go over here. But I've realized that I've got older and I've explored my creativity. I'm just so open to so many different things. Like even the music conversation earlier, like I will actually go away and listen to some Taylor Swift because, I've never done it.
I don't have to subject you to that if you don't want to do it.
I've never done it in my life, but let me actually explore that side of things. You never know, I might like it. So embrace it that way.
I think that's the thing. Like differences are powerful, and like we as a society need to embrace differences, because 100%. I think like, especially with everything that's going on with like Twitter and Elon Musk and stuff like that, like I feel like we're just becoming like more and more of like a divided society. Like people have got these opinions and people have got these opinions, and they sit on very different parts of the internet. That shouldn't be the case. Like, so I think that's really interesting.
Life really does teach us a lot of lessons, but I wonder if there's a lesson that you've learned from any failures in navigating life so far.
I think, I wouldn't say necessarily it's a failure, but I think there's so many parts. I was having this conversation with my partner like the other day, and that there are so many parts of the business that are technically failures, like things that we did for a little while and then don't do anymore because it didn't work out. Like, we sold prints and merchandise and we've done workshops and stuff like that. But like, it's not that any of them particularly failed. It's that we knew the moments where it wasn't worth the energy to then continue. And I think that's true of like a lot of things in life. Like get to the point where you're like, okay, the energy I'm putting into this isn't worth the outcome that I'm getting. So focus on the things that are giving you that positive output. And so I think that failure should be a good thing. You should do it regularly. That's my view on failure.
Don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest lesson from failure. Like, don't be afraid to fail.
Anything that you feel is holding you back right now, like, is there anything that's going on in your life that you want to get a little bit better at or improve?
I think time management, a lot of exciting things happening right now, but I just need to get settled. And I think having an element of perfectionism. We spoke about this on the last episode with Victoria and Eve. An element of perfectionism has played a big part in my life. But I need to just understand that it's not everything I can perfect. I just need to start things, try to do it well. And 9 times out of 10, that'll be more than enough.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's a big one for me. How about yourself?
I think for me right now, one thing I'm working on is putting myself first and my health first. It's something I've massively put to the back of my to-do list, but because I've just been so focused on growing a business or building a relationship or doing these things. But I think actually putting myself first, my health and how I feel about myself and growing that my self-worth is something that I'm actually working on at this moment in time. So I'm kind of going through that, which is interesting. Lots of things coming up, which is it's been a journey, but I'm working through it with PT and health coach at this moment in time. So
nice. Yeah. Don't be afraid to take my self-care tip,
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Take an hour. Finally then, what's one piece of advice you would give to your 20-year-old self?
My 20-year-old self, I'm thinking back to 4 years ago, and it would just be take those shots sooner and earlier, just get yourself out there. That's something 24-year-old me can say I've done, and I've done it to good effect. Just starting with a podcast idea, and now I'm a podcaster. That came from just going for it, just going for it. And then there's a lot of shots that I didn't even make because I'm still bouncing the ball when I should have took that spot, when I should have took that shot. So just be ambitious, and the idea that you've got, just get it out there. You never know what can happen.
So funny because mine literally be the same thing. Everyone has probably got a great idea in them, and just go for it. Whatever it is, your next step, reach out to that person, give it a go. I think my favorite quote for your 20s is success in your 20s is more about setting the table than it is about enjoying the feast. And I think that's something to pretty much live by. So
I like that.
Thank you so much. I've loved chatting to you today.
I've
loved this episode. We should do them more often.
Definitely.
But guys, let us know if you've enjoyed this episode. Write into us, send us messages on Instagram, and let us know whether you like this episode and whether you want us to do more episodes like this. But thanks again for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you all the time. Thank you. A big thank you to you, yes you, for tuning into this episode of the Talk 20s podcast.
We hope it inspired you in some way and popped a little pep in your step for this week.
Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend. It means a lot to us to have your support.
We also love hearing your stories and suggestions. You can reach out to us on all socials by searching @Talk20s.
Lastly, before we go, our website, talk20s.com, is the hub for all things 20-somethings. Go check it out, my people.
Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.